Hello and welcome to Recently Seen Horror, where yada yada yada, you know the drill. It's been a long while since I've done one of these videos, but well, it's been a long while since I saw a movie I really wanted to tell you about, I really wanted to talk about. But I finally did. I haven't watched a lot lately, mostly because I got a job that is totally draining me of any desire to watch anything when I get home. But I finally sat down and watched a movie I've had lying around for a long time. As you may remember from my blog, I was at a metal festival a few weeks ago where I met Gunnar Hansen. And while I was there was this big table where they sold DVDs of all sorts of, low budget or more obscure horror movies. And there were a ton of them I wanted. Unfortunately, I could in no way afford them. But among them were Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak, which I have had for a while and never gotten around to watching. You know Stuart Gordon from making the Re-animator movie, the first one at least. I don't remember how much he had to do with the other two, I think nothing. And Dolls, which I highly recommend, a great little horror flick. But I've just never gotten around to this one, and why the hell haven't I? Because this is great. I love this movie. It is totally awesome in every way. For those who don't know the story, we have an American family. Jeffrey Combs is in it again, and for once he plays a somewhat normal person. He has his problems, of course. This family, a husband and wife and their blind daughter, have apparently inherited an Italian castle, and they're moving in there. But it turns out that in the castle there lives a person who has been locked up in there for years and has just become this demented freak as a result. And of course that freak gets loose and starts killing in the castle, all while the family deals with their own personal demons. And actually let me get back to that. The feel this movie gives is amazing. I didn't actually know what to expect because Stuart Gordon is awesome, Jeffrey Combs is awesome, but it was released by Full Moon Pictures, who are pretty much not known for doing particularly awesome things. I mean, Puppet Master, the first one is good. I like the third one too. They're basically another Trauma, except they tend to take it a little more seriously and just fail. But this movie has way more Gordon than it has Full Moon, believe me. It has like most of Gordon's work, it has a very Gothic feel to it, where Dolls feels very much like a very dark fairy tale, and, Re-animator is based on a Lovecraft story. Castle Freak goes an extra mile with the Gothicness, because we have an ancient castle, we have buried family secrets, we have lightning storms, we have rain, we have ominous warnings from the locals. We've got everything here. If it wasn't for the sex and the gore, which there is plenty of once you get to it, I would have thought this could have been a movie that was made in the 30s. This feels so much like a classic Universal monster movie. It's not hard at all to imagine the freak in this being played by Boris Karloff, for example. It's amazing. It's really just a more violent version of that. And thanks to that, it gets a certain sort of agelessness, because it just uses the things from the 90s when it was made that works, and the things from classic horror that works, and blends it together in one big fuck yes it works pile. And that's a really good feel it has going for it, and it does so the whole way. What is particularly interesting is that it has some simple but very effective symbolism in it. The Castle Freak is very much a physical representation of everything that the hero family is going through. I mean, they have their monsters they fight with. It is revealed that it is the father's fault that the daughter is blind, because he drunk driving, and that also killed the little son. So he's trying desperately to forgive himself for that and seek his wife's forgiveness. She's trying desperately to forgive him, to really get over the fact that she hates his ass. And the daughter is basically their own castle freak. She's this thing that is locked up in their struggle, And that's actually, it really worked. It's a great parallel. And as a result, it's also hard to actually consider the freak totally evil, just like it's hard to consider these people totally good. We have a resentful wife, we have this husband who is honestly a selfish bitch at most times, and then we have this freak who, yes, he kills, he does horrible things, but it's not entirely clear that he actually knows they're wrong. This creature, as it has become, has only become so because of immense human cruelty. So there is sympathy all over the place. You feel sympathy for basically everyone. Where should I go now? Oh, gore. If there's one thing the dear Stuart Gordon is known for, is gore. And there is plenty of it once we get to the good stuff here. It takes a while, much like with Re-animator, when it also takes a good chunk before we get the really fun stuff, except for that cat scene. Here it takes even longer, but when it starts, it's fucked up. What I like about Stuart Gordon when he does gore is he has a very creative way of using gore. Usually when most people think gore, it's just blood. And there's ridiculous gore, there's nasty gore, and then there's Stuart Gordon's special brand of creative gore. He always finds something completely fucked up to do with it. And this freak is very... Sex is a very big theme in this movie, actually. And that is used. I'll leave it at that. There are plenty of scenes in which this freak tries to deal, the titular freak, tries to deal with sexual frustrations, with frustrations over things he doesn't know what are, feelings he doesn't know because he's never been allowed to feel them. And those are easily the most disturbing and creepy scenes. So that's a bit about the themes. The acting is decent. Jeffrey Combs is always awesome. The rest of the cast does a pretty good job. The daughter, who we're supposed to connect the most with, I think, she's alright, you know, there's nothing big there. So is the wife. There's nothing big, but they do their job. Actually, the freak is the best actor, because he really has this animalistic character to him, and it works. There is... I'm not even gonna spoil it. There's just one fantastic shot near the end. There are also a lot of really interesting supporting characters, and they actually manage to, all of them, even if they only have a few minutes of screen time, bring out a little bit of a personal demon, their own personal castle freak, you know, the things inside you that are locked up and that you have to let free every once in a while. So that's really, really, really good. Then there's the overall budget, how they've used it. Apparently, Stuart Gordon really played this smart, because the castle in which this takes place was actually owned by the guy who owns Full Moon Studios, so they didn't have to pay a big rental, which leaves them with a whole lot more budget. And they clearly used that to make the freak really, not appealing, really freaky, really effective to look at. And you wouldn't guess that when you see the cover to the movie. I mean, it has probably the laziest cover in the world. It's literally just a picture of the freak with 2-font title. It looks horrible. But the movie is way better than that cover. It's not like it's the perfect movie. Like I said, some of the acting is hokey, and it will not be in everyone's taste, the whole Gothic thing, with all the classic bits. That won't be in everyone's taste, but it wasn't mine. I loved it every single second. And it does feel like it ends a little suddenly when it does end, but it is damn good. And I would definitely recommend this one to any Stuart Gordon fans, or just any fans of classic-styled horror who still want their blood and their sex. It's basically it's just a mishmash of what works in different sorts of horror. Stuart Gordon has earned a lot more respect in my eyes, and I already loved this guy for both Dolls and Re-animator. I need to check some more of his stuff out, but this was really good. So so far I can just recommend everything I've seen of Stuart Gordon. Re-animator, Dolls, Castle Freak. Go watch it. I really can't think of much else to say. It's well directed. There are a couple of really disturbing shots and some creative use of gore, like I said. And fuck it, it just works. I'm showering this one with praise, I know. Watch it if you're into this stuff. If you're into Gothic style horror, you will love this. If you're into Stuart Gordon's overall style, you will love this. If you're not, you know what? Give it a watch anyway. Just give it a watch, and I'm sure you'll find something about it you'll like. So with that said, this must be the shortest recently seen I've done in a while. Watch Castle Freak. I loved it, and I think you will too. So stay scared.